Queen Carvania stood haloed by the morning sun. An army hung on her every word.
My champions, I have sold my chariot on Carvana. 'Twas a lovely SUV, an inexplicably queenly offer. They're even coming to the castle to collect it. Tonight, we feast! An offer you can feast on. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Hey, it's 10 a.m. and this is Utah's best sports radio.
Say my name.
You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaCombe, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, now DJ and Tim LaCombe, soon to be Scotty G and Tim LaCombe. We're just in a moment of transition.
We're a big family here, man. Mix and match.
As you're about to find out in the next 2 days at the Star.
Yeah,
we got each other's backs.
We always do, man.
Always help them.
Always. That's the mantra. If we're going to expect it from our teams, we got to do it ourselves, right?
See, right. How hypocritical would that be?
I mean, guy will set a screen and then come out here and, no, I ain't taking a shift.
Although a lot of the people that we've worked with here over the years who've gone to other markets have said, yeah, it's not like that everywhere else.
Well, I like
it's been like that with
here.
lots of groups of people here, different people, and it's been like that. But then people have gone off to other markets and they're be like, ooh.
That would be nice.
When the studio door opens, a brisk cold wind blows in.
I got a question for you.
Please,
before we get into stuff, because I was talking to Lloyd about this. You know, I'm going to Texas, and I used to travel every week of my life, maybe twice, for about a 15-year span. And I really haven't traveled very much over the last 5 years. So, packing a bag and everything's a little foreign. I kind of had to make sure I had everything I needed. I did realize I haven't brought a charger, so we're going to have to figure that out. But I digress. Packed my bag, had plenty of time this morning, got in my car, got halfway down, one of the first major roads to my route every day, and my wife called, maybe 2 minutes away from the house, and she said, did you forget something? I don't know, did I? She said, Hank, our grandson, spent the night. He said you left your luggage sitting in the front room. It's like, I'll be back to get it. So that's the story. And my question to you is this.
Yeah.
Is that because that didn't used to happen to me. And I'm, you are a little more wise than me.
I'm a little older than you is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
And so how bad is my memory?
No, did you go through any kind of thing like that where you all of a sudden the things that seemed really simple, like you're going to the airport, grab your luggage?
I don't think DJ's that much older, is he?
Yeah, I think I am. I would say I'm in the 5 to 10 range, but I don't really know how old you are, so whatever. So here's the deal. I don't think I've made a blunder that bad. I know someone who made that specific blunder far worse than you at a much earlier age.
Didn't carry.
If you're flying to Europe for the announcement of the Olympic Games in 1995 in advance of 2002, and you leave your bag in your car and you go on TV and you spend the entire time you're on TV complaining about the airline losing your bag, and you get back and find out it's in your car, yeah, that's worse. So as stories go, that's a bad one.
And this was a colleague?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I'm not going to even go even to names, but we'll talk off the air because I have a good idea.
I'll bet you're wrong.
Really?
Yeah, but we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So yeah, I do find the memory slips, and it takes me. I have to leave the house 2 or 3 times, and I've left crazy stuff at home, but not that crazy.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
that's one for the books.
Yeah.
And I'm 56.
I've got to put stuff in place and plan ahead, or I mess it up. Yeah, I'm older. I was exactly right. I was right in the window.
Range.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought you were mid-50s. So, recent example, the last 2 times I've gone golfing, you have the little thing that you use the ball mark, and mine has a magnetic marker on it.
Right.
You can just mark your spot, so if someone's got a putt
Fix
near you,
it.
you don't hit the ball, right?
Yeah, multifaceted.
So that, I took, for whatever reason, I finished a round a couple times ago, and that was in my pocket. And I realized it, and I put it on my desk at home, and I got to put that in the golf bag. So I've now gone golfing twice without it. Now, that's much smaller than going on a trip.
But
And you can use a tee and fix it, and you can use a coin for a ball mark. So I've adjusted. But yesterday, I saw it on my desk, and I went out immediately in that
That's the
moment
key.
and put it in the bag.
That's the
I'm
key.
like, I'm no longer going to try to remember this.
I think in the future, that's my key is don't leave it in the front room, walk it to the car.
Mm-hmm.
Or say, I'm leaving my bag here. I will pick it up later.
Yeah.
Those types of tricks. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. This has been getting older.
Yeah, it happens.
With
And
DJ and the
then
coach.
recalling names and Mars Blackman. Like, I thought it was Morris Allman and Mars Blackman, but I didn't trust myself. I thought, did I just butcher the first one? I'm not going to butcher the second one. It turned out I was right, but I wasn't positive, so I didn't say it on the air in the last segment, and you came in and said Mars Blackman.
And to bring it full circle, we lost to that Rice University team in triple overtime when Morris Allman was there when I was at the University of Utah.
Yeah.
They had a stage on one end of their facility.
It goes to the he was a good college basketball player, and he had some size. If I remember it, he's like 6'5".
Yeah, he's bigger.
Bigger
Maybe
than 6'5"?
6'7".
Okay, and he could shoot it.
Oh yeah.
But he wasn't athletic enough. And it's just crazy how much
Didn't have
in the
the-
NBA, it's just every level. Like Summer League is bigger, more athletic guys and older and more veteran guys than college. So there's some new challenges for guys who are coming straight from college. And it looked like Peterson just blew right through those challenges without barely breaking a sweat, except for the 8 turnovers. That was rough. But other than that, there were a lot of good things there. And then, but the regular season, I mean, the preseason's harder than the Summer League. The regular season's harder than the preseason. The playoffs are harder than the regular season. I mean, the bar just keeps going up.
Yeah, absolutely does. And with that, Lloyd, let's jump in, man. We are ready to talk Darryn Peterson, to talk Utah Jazz, to talk the goings-on of the weekend.
Hit it, Lloyd.
It's time to kick off the show with the biggest headlines of the day. This is your starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Peterson passed the eyeball test. That was it. Smooth, effortless. I thought he got a lot of easy buckets. He didn't have to shoot fadeaway threes from the corner, over the backboard, over some 6'10" guy jumping at him and all that. He came out early in the game, started a drive, gave the guy a little hesitation, and boop, right at the hoop, finished for the layup. I know there'll be bigger, more athletic shot blockers to score over later, but all he could do at the Huntsman Center was make over half his shots and score 28 points, and he did.
I thought he was great. With some exceptions, and you mentioned one of them. I think the biggest thing I want to start with is, this kid he's definitely what Austin Ainge said. He's a complete player.
Mm-hmm.
This guy understands how to not just play the game, but he understands the nuance of it. In the very first play, Jazz get the tip, and they've got a couple of different actions, and one opportunity to set a screen comes to Darryn, and he doesn't want it, and he kind of waves it off and calls the big up, and he gets the big right at a perfect angle and knows if his right foot is in a certain spot, I can turn the corner and get all the way to the rim. And the cool part about it is he did all of that just naturally.
Mm-hmm.
He did that, not making a fuss about it, did it all in the tempo and the rhythm of the game. But it's really the one thing over time, and Keontae George kind of morphed into this a little more last year, but somebody off the bounce that can play at their speed, their pace, don't get sped up. Mm-hmm. His turnovers were kind of careless. I mean, it was just, it was, and it may have been some fatigue things. You have not played a real game for some time.
So how important is it? Yeah, and then there was full court press, and then
Right.
disorganized against that at the end of the game. And I can't remember who got all those turnovers. There was multiple stuff going on. To me, it just looked chaotic. And I'm like, well, they probably haven't practiced that.
They've been together for 3 days.
Right, they've only had so much time you got to put in the offense. They haven't practiced it, and guys are lost, and guys have played in different systems and had different rules, and nobody really knew what to do. And it had probably a little bit of an all-star game feel to it that was a little chaotic and weird. I'm curious about the turnovers. I'm curious about when you get to the regular season and there's so many guys on the team who can score at a high level. I mean, 20 points a game in the NBA is a high level. Markkanen's well beyond that. Jackson's done that. I'm not even sure how many times he's been at 20 points a game. He can absolutely do that. Now we see Keontae George last year raises his hand. Hey, look, I can do it too. So there's only going to be so many shots. Who gets the ball and initiates the offense? It was kind of a deal at Kansas. And there were people in the run up to the draft who said that Self misused Peterson, which is pretty rough because I think Self would say,
I didn't get to use him.
I didn't get to use him. Right?
That's try.
I don't want to bag on the kid here, but come on.
I'm always looking out for coaches.
I know. He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't want to bag on him. It doesn't do him any good. But there was clear on the sideline there was frustration. I'm curious. He played a lot off the ball at Kansas. There's the expectation he'd be on the ball, as I guess he was in high school and AAU. Why wouldn't he be? He's the best player. Give him the ball. Don't make this too complicated. Then he gets to college. He's off the ball. What's he going to do in the pros? And if he's going to be on the ball, he's got to handle it a lot better than 8 turnovers. And he's got to take charge, which maybe even in game 2 or 3 we may see, where if they get in a situation where there's a full court press, like get the ball, put it under your arm, and like, hey, everybody get out of here. You're just dragging more guys in my way. I will beat this guy. Go down court. If they leave 3 guys here to defend me, I will pass the ball ahead and beat it with a pass. But this whole everybody running around in my way and nobody knows a fire drill.
What that speaks to is exactly what you said. It's confusion, and it's totally explainable because these guys, you get together, you run your basic offense, that you're going to attack with, and it's going to mirror kind of what the Jazz do. You're going to have a defensive scheme, but some of the specials like a press break and things like that. Yeah, you're probably you'll work on it, but probably not a ton.
Will Hardy's watching that game thinking, is he going to start the offense 20% of the time, 50% of the time? How often is Keontae George going to start it? Don't rule out Ace Bailey maybe starting the offense at times. There's a lot of different things they could do.
Oh, yeah. So
who gets the ball? Well, Will Hardy's going to say the guy who doesn't cough it up, because Will Hardy's going to say what every other coach says. You average 1 point, whatever points per possession on threes or on twos or on free throws. Well, you know what you average on turnovers? 0.
I would say this. There's 2 messages I want to get across. Number 1, yeah, this kid played great, but let's slow the roll for a lot of people. We tend to, in the sports world, overreact to one performance, good or bad. And, if my memory serves me right, Wemby had just an absolutely miserable couple of Summer League games to the point where I read articles, people saying, yeah, welcome here. You may be tall, but you're not. Look, man, whether you're good or bad, this is a long saga. This is a long journey. And legacies aren't built overnight. They're not built in one game. You said it exactly right. For that environment, what you wanted to see was a guy who understood how to play, not just understood how to play, but at an elite level. Because when you're drafting in the first couple of picks, you want to see that. You saw a guy that even though he had 8 turnovers, he didn't get sped up. Again, some of those were, early in the game, he made a couple of bad decisions. But just the nature of the way he played lends itself to the fact that he understands, like with that pick, he understands what's going to happen after an action. He's able to see down the road. And then, as I said, studying his tape, his footwork may be as good as anybody I've ever seen. His ability to get on balance, whether it's off the bounce, a shot fake, he showed it on that step back from the top of the key that was Harden-esque. He's just got great feet. And
that matters a lot.
A lot.
When you're off balance, you tend to look weak and you tend to look awkward. And fans instinctively recognize that, but they may not be able to explain why they know what they know.
Exactly.
And you, as a coach, would say, and I know this because coaches have told me, yeah, the reason they look like that is their feet are jacked up. They're not balanced. And if I think a lot of people here who play junior Jazz basketball and go to camps, I think a high percentage of people here do. If you remember back to those camps, they work with you on the feet right away.
Balance is the first thing you talk about.
Yep.
Yeah, it's beef when you shoot. It's balance, eyes, elbow, and follow through. So balance in all parts of the game. Majerus used to talk about balance for big guys. When you get a rebound, to be able to keep that thing under your chin, but lower your center of gravity so you've got some torque.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go easy on the fact that this kid's going to be the next Kobe, because the truth of the matter is, careers have weird ways of having. You have a great night, you have a bad night. I saw an article today just to kind of back up what I'm saying. A.J. DeBonsa has not played a game. He hasn't had anything that he's been able to do since the draft, but be the number 1 pick. And I saw an article today that Peterson's performance makes Wizards front office second guess their pick. I mean, how in the world, like we're talking about one guy playing one game against Summer League competition, and there is an overreaction. So let's slow the roll. I think in a positive sense, I like breaking the game down. And you said it. He made over half his shots.
11 to 21.
Didn't take a lot of, I mean, he may have taken a tough one here or there, but overall, I like the way he got his shots.
Yep.
Didn't feel like he paused the game to get his shots. All happened in the context. And then to answer your question, the fact that he is playing against Summer League guys, he's going to be able to do a few more things right now. But when he gets into game one of the regular season, which again is a far cry from game one of the playoffs in terms of intensity, I think it goes, though, game one, guys are pretty intense. Then you see it in the NBA Cup for a game or two, and you see it in the playoffs. But he's going to have an opportunity through that whole time to figure it out. And he's going to have veterans in every spot as he drives the ball. You said it. Lowry Markin, who's dead eye, doesn't have to dribble. If he's catch and shoot and he's open, Darren's job is going to be to find him. It's not going to be how will he handle it. This is a play hard and pass culture.
I'm curious, and we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but which players fit with which players?
Yeah,
because there's no reason to have the 4 scorers on the court. Well, depending on how it works out, 4 or 5 scorers on the court together at the same time. A lot of people crave that, and you'll get it for the last 5 minutes of the game. But the rest of the time, first off, one of them will probably miss a game, and then the others need to be staggered and figuring all that out. But I did wonder if Markkanen and Peterson would play well together, because you can't help off Lowry, but you're going to need help to stay in front of Peterson.
Well, yeah.
And that creates a little tension, right there.
Right. And honestly, the great opportunity that Will's going to have is to be able to carve out identities for both units.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a guy like Collier, who by just coming onto the court, he's going to change the tempo, pace, intensity, speed of the game. So in my mind, I think that's a great opportunity to get a running, a guy who can run with him as far as a big guy, that's out in front of things, that can set ball screens and transition and roll. And then, hey, man, as exciting as Darryn Peterson was, guys like Cody Williams and Ace Bailey, who looked very polished for where they've, Ace had a very, very good ending to the year, and he picked up right where he left off. And his confidence is higher. His know-how is higher. He's going to jump this year. You watch. Cody was a guy that everybody wanted to write off. They wanted to write off. I had buddies inside the Jazz organization that I've talked to, not in the basketball side, but just in the business side. And, they're like, do you think Cody can ever come around? I'm like, guys, he's 19 and he weighs about 140 pounds.
Well,
give him a little time.
He definitely had to get bigger.
That was the whole thing.
PK said earlier this morning he really just didn't belong in the league. He wasn't big and physical enough. And so then people say he looks timid. Well, he does, because he's getting bullied. Now he's big enough to stand up for that. And sure enough, what do you see in the Summer League? You see a super aggressive straight line drive to the rim and a windmill dunk. Well, when you feel bigger and stronger and like people can't push you around, it impacts your mindset. I mean, the physical and the mental play off each other, for sure. But I will say with Cody, this team is they're committing money to a lot of people, and how are they going to pay Keontae? Cody needs to have a year. I really think Cody's where Keontae was a year ago. You got multiple doors to walk through here, 3 doors. Let's make a deal time. Door number 1, you're so good. They're like, this guy's a lockdown defensive guy, and you got to play him honestly. You can't help off him offensively. We need that. He doesn't need the ball and need a lot of shots. He could really carve out a well-paying role for himself, either with this team or in the league. Door number 2, you're good enough. You exist in the league. You're probably going to have to bounce around. And then door number 3, they're moving on to the next prospect. You're out. Go find a team in Europe.
You know what is
any of those things can happen
to those doors, and what differentiates those doors to me, because he can defend. He's a high-level defender, and his bulk is only going to help that. His confidence offensively and his ability to drive the ball is awesome. It's going to come down to whether he can make a 3. Like, this guy needs to be able to make 35%.
Because you can only have one non-shooter on the floor at a time,
right.
And that's going to need to be a defensive-oriented big man in most cases. Nurkic might give him a little breathing room,
Yeah, but it
But
also
nonetheless, you're right. Define your NBA career. You got to fix that.
Yep, because he's got all the other things, and the confidence is all he was lacking. I said from the very first year on pre-post all year long, because we have to talk a lot.
I heard.
But I said Cody's development will begin when his body gets to the point where he can compete at this level.
But they're going to need his money to pay Keontae next year. So he's really got to make sure he's earning it
Well,
if he's going to get it.
But to me this year, he addressed that in the offseason. He looks markedly better. And I'm telling you, just a little bit of confidence. I know it's Summer League. But for him, be on ESPN Sports Center to show that dunk, to get his name. And it does something to a guy because he's working hard and it's paying dividends. And you go, man, I got to keep this up.
But he's got to bring his three-point shooting up.
That's big.
12 to 15 points.
Yeah, and that's not easy to do. But I would dare say a lot of that, he was stuck in bad situations because he couldn't get anywhere off the bounce.
Yeah.
And then,
so if they play off him because they respect his ability to go by him, then it's going to make it easier to shoot the three.
Right, but also having some success will change it. And it's not going to change it 12 to 15 points in a year, but I like Cody's growth. I like his path, and development isn't linear. This is a perfect example. Because all guys are dealing with different weaknesses, and some things you can address way quicker than others.
Cody shot 26% from three as a rookie and 21.5% in his second year.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is going to be whether that kid is here, because I love his mindset. I love his hustle. I love the fact that he's had to play through adversity. Sometimes you like to see guys who are forgotten about, and you're not going to forget about me. So some of those guys that climb out of a pit, and it's really not even fair to say he was in a pit, because it's really, I heard you guys talking about it, it's the nature of the game now. You can't get too old in college.
Right.
But you can't get, or you're forgotten.
And he had a bunch of injuries, so he didn't even get a full season of college. He really didn't even get a half season of college.
Right. And the glimpses you saw of him were the things you talk about, his body, his wingspan, his ability to effective defensively. So, he's got to be able to prove that he can make a shot at this level.
All right, David James, Tim Lacombe, the coach. More in a moment right here on The Zone.
Evening. Buyer's remorse. Buy a new car? I'll be moving in. Let's get started.
Sorry, I think there's been a mistake. I bought it from Carvana.
You what?
Yeah, great price. I even have 7 days to love it or return it.
So there's no...
No buyer's remorse. More like buyer's rejoice.
I guess I'll let myself out. Congratulations. I mean it.
Buyer's rejoice. Buy your car today on Carvana.
Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Scotty G and the coach, Tim Lacombe. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK has turned into DJ and the coach, Tim Lacombe. And briefly, it's going to turn in here momentarily into Scotty G and the coach, Tim Lacombe. In addition to watching Summer League basketball, do you watch any other sports? It's a crazy weekend for golf. I know you golf a little bit. A World Cup, I found that Sunday's two games were wildly entertaining.
They were wild.
Yeah.
I have actually fallen into that pond and watched a little soccer.
Okay. And then crazy baseball with the Marlins had a perfect game through 7, but 23-year-old. He's 6'8", and he's 23. He's from the Dominican, so of course he doesn't play basketball. He plays baseball. And he's coming off the injured list. I think he actually had the Tommy John, too.
It's Perez, right?
Yes.
Yuri Perez. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to see him pitch last year against the Red Sox, or 2 years ago.
You can't forget him because he's 6'8", right?
Oh, dude, and he threw.
I didn't know anything about him. I had to look him up. I'm like,
I've got his baseball cards, bro.
Okay. All right.
That's how I stay relevant in baseball. You got to have cards.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing. And a bunch of moves by the Mammoth, like crazy trades, and seems like that team's just getting more and ready.
They're adding some vets to go for it.
Some
and
toughness.
I like that they're giving up some of the prospects, but not the best ones, because I think they have more prospects than roster spots. So you got to look and say, who's the best prospect for us? And we're so deep. This prospect has value. Actually help Team X, whoever they're making a deal with, and move them and give them a chance and clear their path. There's no point in having them bottled up and having them not happy and able to get, and then you don't get any value for them.
But it's fun to see, like, went through the whole rebuild and with the Jazz. And, you know, the Walker Kessler thing over the weekend, that was a detour. That felt like a detour to me. I mean, to me, that guy was always in the plan.
I was surprised by the timing. They liked him. They didn't love him. Back before Austin was involved, when Danny Ainge, after the rookie year, you know, did some studies. Okay, you know, it was a Luke.
But that's
everybody
Danny.
else was. Everybody else was fired up. It is.
Danny will always dampen. You know what I mean? He'll always, because he wants the guys to have a chance.
But fans will always, and not just Jazz fans. I mean, I lived in Santa Barbara. It's a huge Laker town. And man, Eldon Campbell's great. Yeah, Eldon Campbell is great when he's playing with Kareem and Worthy, and maybe I should mention this guy named Magic.
I actually like the Perkins angle better. I like the stretch.
Yeah, right. But Perkins was a much more accomplished NBA player than Eldon Campbell. I mean,
but they freaked out over Eldon Campbell.
Oh, they loved Eldon. They loved Eldon. But the guy who works hard, who seems like a good guy, who knows his place in the NBA and is scrapping to keep it, always appeals to fans. That player, and Eldon Campbell, was like that. He worked hard. He battled. He was a poor man's Kurt Rambis. his battling. People loved Rambis, and people loved him too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they overvalued him. You know, it's like, well, when he's gone, this guy will carry. No, he's not going to carry anything.
My thoughts on it are, you know, I think Walker, in the end, you know, his people felt like he could get more, and he did.
I suspect not as much as they thought he was going to get.
Not as much, and
I
really,
think they thought the mid to high 30s, and then it ended up being low 30s.
But I think the important part of this is the Jazz, and you guys said this earlier, as you're doing this, you have to be really conscious, particularly in certain positions, and center's one of them. You don't want to overpay. You just can't get locked into a deal.
I think in every position, what percentage of the cap are you giving away? Why did the Celtics make the move they made? Hey, there's hard feelings, but there are plenty of places where they get over the hard feelings. And they didn't, and I think the reason they didn't was money. It's like they had two guys pulling on too much of the cap, and they loved Tatum more than Brown. Now, I don't know if you want to, one guy's an A and the other guy's an A minus, or one guy's an A minus, one guy's a B plus. I don't know, do whatever you want. But they like Tatum 10% more than they like Brown. And the new owners, not paying that luxury tax. I'm going to have to bring this up with PK, and I forgot. A lot of people, and I think PK falls into this camp because he said it. He said, I want to talk about talent, I want to talk about money. But the two are now linked. I was talking to Austin the day he was introduced, and talking about the rebuild and what's the timeline for the rebuild. And he's like, and he was non-committal, we'll see. When opportunity knocks, you got to seize it. That opportunity could knock in a week, in a month, in a year. You just have to be ready when it does. So there's no point in putting a timeline on it. You don't know when somebody else is going to be ready to make a deal, and you don't control that. All makes sense. He says, but he looped back and he said, but it has gotten to the point where contracts are more important than talent. Because the owners are simply saying, no, we're not paying that second apron, quadruple luxury tax, no, we're not paying it. And the list of people who pay it is very short, and it doesn't last for very long. The Warriors are paying. The Warriors have done some paying. They've written some checks there. But they're not willing to do it forever. And so you see these
championships were highly leveraged. They're still paying for
But if you get four of them,
I guess
it's the price you pay.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. But they have new ownership in Boston. They're not going to do it. And I really think whatever's happening behind the scenes, whatever the analytics say, whatever the emotions and the personalities are, there's also an owner like, we're not going over that number. Now Oklahoma City got to 250. They're 30 million over the number. And we start seeing them whacking guys who are making 8, 10, 12 million bucks. And 240, 230, 220. We see what you're doing. And we see the number you're trying to get to. I can see it. But they got a championship. The Spurs haven't had to do it yet, but they will. Their day will come, but their guys are still on rookie contracts, so they're okay for now. And the Thunder haven't had to go into the core. So if you're in one of these fantasy leagues, this is what I meant to bring up with PK. Some fantasy leagues, you just have the draft. When I play fantasy football, that's what my college buddies and I do. And, if you draft, it's a 10-team league. If you draft 10th, you draft 11th, and it just rotates. But there are other things, and I think it's more a baseball thing, but maybe it's a football thing. I just haven't done it, where it's like an auction, and everybody has a certain budget. So if you want to go get the best player and use 50% of your money, great. But now you only got 50% of your money left. And so there's a whole strategy. That's what the NBA's turned into.
Oh, 100%.
And it's more, well, it's cutthroat in a different way than the NFL. In the NFL, they'll spend and go over because they know they don't have guaranteed money and they can renegotiate with players. But where everything's guaranteed in the NBA, you can't. So once you do it, you've done it. And I did think they didn't like Kessler at the number in the 30s, but I thought the number one priority was don't lose him for nothing the way you lost Hayward for nothing. Granted, it was different management ownership. But the franchise can't afford that. So I figured that they would sign him and then figure it out, and there was a trade coming in, sooner, not later. And what I missed on completely was trade was not coming sooner or later. Trade was coming soonest. I thought they're going to have to do something in 2 years. If they sign him for a lot of money, they're going to have to do something in 1 year.
1 year.
But it turned out they decided to do something today as opposed to, hey, let's test drive. We can afford it for a year. Let's test drive it, and then we'll make a move. But the Angels, as has been written many times, are all about leverage. They had leverage on the Lakers. Lakers have new owners. General manager hired by previous owner had better look good or he's out. So he was highly motivated to do a deal, and they start talking to him about draft picks in 2031 and 33, and you can say he blew it and he overreached, and I would say he doesn't know if he's going to be here in 2029. What the heck does he care about a draft pick in 2033? Yeah. I mean, he's got to fix it now because if this year doesn't go well, I'm not even guaranteeing that he gets another year. Maybe he does. I don't know their timeline.
Will this year go well?
So it will go well by NBA standards, but it will not be up to Lakers standards because Lakers standards are championship or bust. And I don't think that they're on the top level. I think they're on the next tier. Now, in this volatile era, with injuries, I think the Knicks got from the next tier. I didn't think the Knicks were on the top tier.
No, they jumped up, yep.
But they did it in the East. They only had to win one playoff series. Didn't have to win 2 or 3. And in the West, you probably have to beat the Spurs and the Thunder, or the Thunder and the Spurs, whatever the order, depending on the seeding. And then the finals probably aren't going to be easy. Occasionally they are, but usually they aren't. I think that West is deeper than the East, but when you get to the finals, I think in the last 12 years, I think it's like 7-5. The West has a slight advantage, but only slight. Toronto broke through with the help of an injury. New York, you can argue New York had the matchups to beat the Spurs and not the Thunder, and was fortunate the Thunder had the 2 injuries. And the Thunder also weren't perfect. They didn't shoot the 3 well enough. They did miss 2 rotation guys who could have made the difference in a 7-gamer.
Very big.
A starter and a sub.
Yep.
And then the Knicks have done well against the Thunder, but they've done poorly against – the Knicks have done well against the Spurs, but the Knicks have done poorly against the Thunder. So maybe they caught a break, but you catch breaks sometimes. That's the nature of the playoffs.
That's why you have to – that's why you keep fighting. That's why health is a huge thing. I mean, just never, ever know.
But everybody's making money decisions, not talent decisions.
Yeah. And honestly, I call it salary Tetris. There's certain places that – things will fit, and otherwise you got to pass.
And maybe it'll be wrong, but I think that they overpaid Lowry, and Geltzeiler was right about this, isn't Jackson overpaid? To which Geltzeiler, when he's on, is like, the only reason the Jazz could trade for him is because he is overpaid. He says there are a lot of cases where if you want a $30 million player, you got to pay him 40, or a $40 million player, you got to pay him 50. You overpay guys by 5, 10, 15 million bucks all the time because if you don't, someone else will. They'll take the most money. And you may full well know what you're doing, but if you want to get the player, you have to. That's the only way you get the player because someone else will pay more. And Kessler's a great example of that. But at some point, you have to draw a line because you know you're going to be bouncing up against the cap. You've already consciously overpaid 2 guys. And Keontae George is going to have to be signed. And what he's signed for will be determined, I think, by what this next year looks like, what his number turns out to be.
They wanted the same type of thing. And I feel like, again, in this world, the Jazz are choosing to deal with information that is current. You sign a deal right now, you don't know what's going to happen a year from now. You don't know what's going to happen this year. So while it's probably frustrating to agents and players, I think it's actually probably on a guy that, as you're building this thing, fits for a period of time, but then has to do some things extra and above to fit longer. You need to take the time to evaluate that. So I know it's been criticized, but I like the tact.
What's been criticized?
Just the Jazz
trade?
waited. Yeah. No, not the trade, but that they didn't, maybe could have locked him up a year ago or.
I don't think so. I don't think we know the number they could have locked him up for. I think he and his agent gauged his market correctly. Now, you can say he's not worth that. Well, he is if somebody will pay it. He is if somebody will pay it.
He got it, yeah.
Now, is he worth it if you're doling out how much you pay everybody on a championship roster? Probably not. But what does the player care about that? You've got a short period of time to earn the maximum amount of money, and every player probably believes they're better than they are, and they also believe they're going to improve in it, even if they're not. So everyone played their role rationally, and we ended up where we ended up. Yeah, and what we didn't know is that LeBron would opt out with the Lakers, and they'd have cap room. If he stays, then the Lakers...
I think that was all spurred by Luka's demand to get him a big guy. And so I almost feel like LeBron was kind of almost like, hey, you're leaving, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it all...
But that's why he's going to do this world tour. Hey, I still have value. You shouldn't have pushed me out. I think this world tour, as much as people think it's for his own ego, yeah, but I think it's to make a point to the Lakers.
Which is his own ego.
Yes, it is. It does cycle back.
But you can't, when you get to even Michael Jordan, you can't talk about those guys talking about ego because it all begins and ends there.
If they didn't have the ego, they never would have gotten there in the first place.
Right. I mean, it's how you've climbed the corporate ladder.
See, we just sit in this chair. You just start channeling PK. Does something rub off on the chair?
I don't know. You are, one of the biggest names in the state. So, okay. And I know you've crushed a lot of people to get there. That is not true. You've been such a good advocate to this young guy.
I was a weekend sports guy for 30 years. I don't see the crushing happening there
what you
anywhere.
did is you just worked, and you kept a great attitude. And the one thing I'll say about you, Deej, you keep a smile on your face. You keep things pretty light.
If we're doing this and we're not having fun, we're doing it wrong.
That's right.
And having watched people who do this who are all miserable and all, I'm like, then go do something that pays more. There are a lot of things that pay more. This pays less because it's fun. Now, it pays more than other stuff. It's all sliding scale. If you want more, there's always more, but you got to do something. And one reason local media caps out where it does, which can be in a really good spot to be sure, is it's fun. There are people who leave the media and go into fields like, say, insurance. Might not be as fun.
But they'll make more money.
They make more money. Yeah.
See, it all comes back to salary slots. Salary
As
Tetris.
my grandfather used to say all the time, you pays your money and you makes your choice. So there you go.
Well said, Gramps.
He had some state fair carnival thing going on there when he said that. Yeah, I don't know. He used to love to say that. So.
Well, thank you for, keeping the seat warm.
Scotty G ready to go? Is he all dialed up?
We'll be good.
Really? Well, if not, I'll just do 15 more. This is a short segment. If you stay on time.
Well, we'll surprise the listener.
I don't know what's going to happen next. Stay tuned and find out for yourself. Stay with us right here on The Zone.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Best thing that's ever happened to you financially. Go.
Easy. Sold my car on Carvana. Amazing offer.
Really? I hit 200 on the scratcher.
Did the scratcher come to your house and hand you a check?
No.
How many scratchers did you hit to get that? I hit a button on Carvana.com once.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like the lottery, except you always win.
Not like the lottery at all, actually.
Exactly. Inexplicably good. Offers worth bragging about. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Utah is right here, right here. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Gerard, the coach, Tim LaComb. Hey, thanks for holding down the fort.
What's up, my guy?
My guy.
Appreciate it. I missed you. Over the weekend.
Oh, man, I missed you. I missed the show. I missed even like on Friday. I missed talking about stuff. There's all kinds of good stuff going on, man. I am so fired up to get back here.
You were in Idaho.
I was in Idaho with the fam. It was just absolutely awesome. Great. We always get together. We don't do the family reunion very much, and but every 4th of July we get everybody together, and it was awesome. On the Snake River, things were beautiful. The water was clear, calm. My son's ripping out the most ugliest carp you've ever seen.
Boyd was telling me about that.
I didn't get a reaction from you on that. I sent you a text that was gold.
Did I not send you this, Coach?
It's horrifying.
Still not reacting, huh?
I am. What?
No, him.
Oh.
Look at the size of that thing. And look how ugly that is.
Holy cow. It's like patinaed.
It looks like it swam through acid.
Well, I mean, yeah, those carp up there, they're nasty. They're nasty. So, yeah, but they put up a good fight. They're fun to catch. They're just, you don't do it. You, can't get rid of them fast enough once you catch them.
Man, that thing is...
I would have cut the line on that thing. I'm not touching that. That thing looked like it was going to burn a hole in your hand.
World's ugliest fish.
It's like Quado. Or what was it? What was the Total Recall?
No, it's worse than Quado. I said, so the GIF I sent you is of the RoboCop guy, the acid guy.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I sent you. That's what it reminded me of. Its skin was peeling off. That thing's horrible.
It's disgusting. How was your 4th, Lloyd?
It was excellent. Had a nice barbecue over at some friends that, where the kids swam at a pool and had a slip and slide, and it was great.
Nice.
Nothing more American and 250 than a slip and slide in a swimming pool.
Let's go.
What's more American than football?
My kid was like, we always wanted a slip and slide, but you never would let us have one. I'm like, I would let you have a slip and slide. And my wife's
After
like,
what it does to the yard?
And my wife's like, you know what that does to the grass? I'm like, oh, that's right. I wouldn't let you have a slip and slide.
So they had this big, giant, blow-up one, almost like those jump house size. It was like the size, it was a shark. I'll send you a picture of it. Like, this thing was so big, and you should have seen the water and the hole of mud that it created in their yard. And I was just like, oh, I'm so glad this is not my house.
Yeah. Hey.
Grass can be repaired.
Memories.
It's the memories
cannot.
Memories last forever. That little pit, only maybe 6 months.
Hey, so I tweeted this out. I'm a firm believer that, and I've always said this for years and years and years, ever since I saw Darren Williams in his first Summer League game, when he looked darn right pedestrian. And I'm like, don't ever get too high or don't ever get too low when it comes to Summer League performances.
That's the speech I've been giving.
And I'm telling you right now, Darryn Peterson is testing me on that one.
He's breaking it for you?
He's testing me a little bit on that one. Because I'm watching that, I'm like, okay, don't get too high, don't get too high, don't get too... But kid looked really good.
He looked great. And honestly, I loved his... After the game, when they talked to him, his media availability, because he talked about some of the things he didn't get to. I need to block out better. He made some of those comments. I can do a better job here. I can do a better job there. So I love the mindset. Had 8 turnovers. And I would speak, that's probably just a bunch of guys getting to know each other.
Yeah.
Zigging when somebody should be zagging, that sort of thing. But what really stood out to me, and it's what we talked about, the dude's just a scorer. In the very first play of the game, he gets the ball, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Ace, came to run, set a screen, and he basically waved Ace through and called the big up because he knew that he's got a good chance at the angle he was going to be at, right at the top of the key. So as he came off, that dude's right foot was too low. He beat him to the spot and got all the way to the rim. He made those types of decisions all night long. And hopefully you saw my favorite feature is feet.
Yeah.
The way he organizes his feet in a crowd, step backs, things like that, really, really has great feet.
You mentioned the feet, the balance.
Balance is huge.
And that's something that, us average talking heads who haven't coached at the level or been around the game the way you have, we don't talk about balance. But that's why I love your perspective, is those are things that we don't pick up on, but you saw that immediately with him.
And I will be quick to say, I think the fan reaction, whether a player comes in and plays really well, in the case of Darryn Peterson, or my mind is, is long. It goes back long enough to remember Wemby's first game. And he spent more time on the ground rolling around.
Yeah.
And people were, come on, this kid he's supposed to be Wilt Chamberlain. It takes a minute, guys. This is a tough deal to break in. And Darryn did exactly what we'd hoped he'd do. He went out there. He took kind of the leadership role between he and Ace. I thought they played well off each other. And he was efficient. I loved his efficiency. He didn't go out there and just cast a ton of shots up. His shots had purpose. And so it's a great starting point. But it's tonight he could go 0 for 8.
Yeah.
From the 3. I mean, you just never know. So same people that are praising him today, just make sure along the process I was at Kobe's game in rookie year. They're sitting third row in the Mr. Max seats. And I watched Kobe airball that pivotal shot as a rookie. And I, got up out of my seat and I wanted to say, see, he's nothing.
Yeah.
But long memory. Majerus talked about having a long memory, and players have to have a short memory and get on to the next game. And hopefully Darryn will just pick up where he left off. But man, I love everything about what he showed. But I will say that's what you hope a second pick would do against a bunch of Summer League guys.
Well, and the one thing that I was really thrilled about is Ace Bailey came in and looked like
he picked up right where he left off.
Right where he left off. And that's I want to see second-year guys like what I saw from Darryn in that first game was what I want to see out of a second-year player. Because I have high expectations for a second-year guy. I don't have any expectations for a rookie. But a second-year guy, you've been around the league. You played NBA games. You should be able to dominate at that level. And I saw Ace Bailey have stretches where it's like, okay, yep, that's a guy that's been around the league for a bit.
Yeah, he's playing with a great confidence, a definite purpose. You can see that he's bulked up. Speaking of bulked up, Cody Williams.
Yeah.
Cody Williams. And I said this way back when during the pre and post, I would talk about Cody early. And, people wanted him to be great because he was the 10th pick. And I kept saying he will advance slowly, but he will actually be able to compete once he puts on enough weight where he can play on balance. Because you watched Darryn was on balance all game, and Cody was hardly on balance his entire first couple of years. Because if he took a hit, he's the guy that's reeling from the hit. And so he's lived in that weight room. And it's done wonders for his confidence. His strength is actually affecting his confidence. And I think the next step for Cody now, he's got to be able to, I know he can guard, and he's getting really great in open floor, driving, that sort of thing. Add that three-point shot to it. He's got to become more consistent. 21 and 26%. For a guy like him, that's going to be what his career is how he shoots the three.
Realistically, where if you got to this number, you would considering where he started, if he can get to X percentage, that's a win for him.
For some reason, like when a guy shoots 33, when I would look at a box, it's just good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
3 of 9.
And then you get people, the key to it is not just that you make threes and you get 3 points. The key to it is when you can't shoot, it disrupts spacing.
Yeah.
Because your guy's playing 5 to 7 feet off of you at the nearest block, at the nearest elbow, and their whole job is to gum up everything. So cutters and everything, they're whacking them. Somebody drives it, they got an extra guy in there to muddy it up. So if you can get guys playing correctly, and when you catch the ball, you're a threat, and you give them an eyebrow raise, that's sometimes is as good as a screen.
Yes.
Right? But they have to, the key to it is they have to think you're going to make it. They have to really try urgently to get to you, and then you've got them. And that's what he's got to get to.
The great Shehan Jayaraja, CBS Sports, is going to join us next. We'll see Shehan coming up tomorrow in Frisco, Texas. It's Big 12 Media Day kicking off mañana. We will talk to him about that next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Queen Carvania stood haloed by the morning sun. An army hung on her every word.
My champions, I have sold my chariot on Carvana. 'Twas a lovely SUV, an inexplicably queenly offer. They're even coming to the castle to collect it. Tonight, we feast. An offer you can feast on. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.